What's up guys, Cloudie here, checking in from the America server. And even though it's June already, today we are gonna be looking at May after her recent balance update. Okay, terrible puns aside, since the videos tend to be a little bit long, I will give you the TLDR version first. May is super strong now, perhaps one of the strongest buffers in the game. Works both for physical and magic teams, and you definitely should get her, love her, give her presents and gold, especially gold, and then she might love you back. Well, in the stories she does seem to be a bit of a materialistic girl. But okay, if I have spiked your interest, then let's go and have a look at Miss May, see what she can do and what she cannot do. It's actually not the right set I wanted for her. Whatever, we will look at that later. Let's check her skills first. The main skill that she has is called Take Anything, which will increase attack of all allies by 0.5% of May's attack, and a 5k flat bonus for 120 seconds, and recovers their mana by 500, additionally granting them either 70 depth penetration or 100 attack speed. And then this attack boost is multiplied by 3 for the ally with the highest attack, excluding May herself, so May cannot get this for herself. All effects excluding the mana recovery can be stacked up to maximum 8 times. Upon using this skill 20 times or more, changes this skill to only the best of the best, which is this one. Activates all of the previous effects and recovers mana by 500. Additionally, increases damage dealt to non-hero enemies by 2%. This effect can be stacked up to a maximum of 10 times. So, let's see how this actually looks like in real life. Because of the May's attack part is added here, this is a fairly low number, 0.5%, but you can build a May to have like a 1.5 million attack, and that maximum stack, so 8 times plus the 3-time multiplier on your highest attacker, you can have upwards of 200k attack, which is alright. Depends if you consider it to Mediana or compare it to Mediana, who can do a lot more, but they can be run together, and it's still a quite big number, especially if you are min-maxing for top scores in endgame content. On top of that, she gives depth penetration and attack speed, and after 20 costs she will give you non-hero damage, which is super powerful. And the thing about this skill is you need to cast it a lot of times. 20 times on an 8-second cooldown is a lot, and that's just to get to the second part, which you also need to cast 10 times, so that's 30 times already, plus there is 5 more from a perk, so 35 times. That's gonna be a long time. With the base cooldown, this is gonna be like a whole 5 minutes or so, or near to that. Now, her unique weapon is gonna come into play here, that makes this skill even stronger and reduces all her cooldowns. So a maxed out May can reduce that stacking time to around 2.5 minutes. But that doesn't also doesn't consider other cooldown reduction factors like OD or Rehartna or CDR gear, which you might have, or just running a pocket watch on May. So she can definitely stack this up a lot faster, but by default that's what you are looking at. Also, one thing that, since we mentioned Mediana, it's important to note that May can and will steal your buffs if she is the highest attacker. She doesn't have anything built into her kit that doesn't make her be considered the highest attacker by the game. So you have to be careful when you're building her full attack, because she might overtake your DPS and then she will be stealing your buffs. So that's a good thing to know. But otherwise, this is her super important buff, and it's very powerful. So this is her main skill. Now her second skill is Cheer Up, which is a healing spell. It has a decent amount of front heal, and then for 10 seconds heals the HP of the target equal to 1% of the target's maximum HP. So there is a front burst heal, and then a percentage heal of the target's max HP, 1% every second, and there is a 30% chance that the heal rate is multiplied by 2 for 10 seconds, and increases the CC resist of all allies by 250. I think that's without the chance part, it's just Vespa's way of describing things. So that's pretty good, especially in auto mode, because you have a constant heal ticking. It's only 1% of your maximum HP, but it never really stops, so that's kind of nice to have. And while this also starts on an 11-sec cooldown, once Mei gets a higher unique weapon, she can really spam this, and you will see a lot of healing coming from her. So also a very powerful skill. Not for sale. So this is a very high mana cost spell. Attacks a random target and its nearby enemies 3 times, dealing magic damage and inflicting stun for 4 seconds. Now this is 4 times or 3 times 4 seconds. For instance, in Trial of Flow, this alone is enough to switch the stances of the boss, and Mei was for a very long time the go-to buffer in that trial. So yeah, this definitely works there. There is a 10% chance that the effect range, damage, and stun duration multiply by 2 after casting. Uses Take This, which is her S4. And Take This is dealing magic damage to 5 random enemies every 15 seconds, increasing magic damage they take by 25% for 10 seconds, and additionally inflicting either continuous damage for 10 seconds, stun for 2 seconds, or freeze for 5 seconds. So this will come up every 15 seconds, do a bit of a magic damage amp, and then add another effect, which will be either a stun, a freeze, or some continuous magic damage. And you can trigger this by her S3. So that's kind of nice, because you can apply the effect when you need to amp, for instance, like for caskets. It happens to be 5 random enemies, so quite good for Vel'Khazar. These are her main skills. Obviously her Take Anything and only the best of the best is the main skill that you will use her for, but as you go into the Transcendence perks and the unique treasures and stuff, you see that there is actually more to her than that, other than the cute glasses. Let's see, so standard priest perks, of course. Now there is an option that lets her buff not be dispelled by the spells, because they can be. So her S1 can be dispelled, but with this buff or this perk, that's not gonna happen. The other one, where you are up against bosses who do not dispel, allows you to stack the only best of the best, so the second part of her S1, to 15 times, which means that you go from 20% non-hero damage to 30, but of course this means that you need to cast it 5 more times. That's why I said that it's 35 costs. So yeah, this is definitely something you want to take on Mei. It's really good. You shouldn't be running without it, unless of course this spells. Now this one, for her heal, increases the duration of HP recovery by 3 seconds. Considering that it's an 11-second cooldown baseline and the 10-second uptime, I don't think this is really worth. I'm not sure where I would be using this. She doesn't really have an issue keeping up that healing, so this is not really worth in my opinion. The other one, that when upon the activation of the double heal, recovers the allies mana by 1 orb. This can be useful if you are in a situation where you are low on mana. So yeah, this is something you can pick up if you have the points for it. Moving on, reduces the mana cost of Not For Sale. This is something you often picked in Trial of Flow, because 4 mana for that skill was a lot, and you wanted to be able to cast it when it was needed. So it can be useful there. Otherwise, not really required, except maybe if you are struggling with mana. Now this one is all attacks will be focused on a single enemy. So yeah, I don't know. Haven't really used this ever, so can't really comment. It's not really part of her main kit anyway. Moving on. So take this. This is that activates her buff. This can activate every 12 seconds instead of every 15 seconds. It can have like a mini stun in it, so it might be okay-ish in some situations, like if you need more CC, but I wouldn't really take it. There are better perks out there for her. So whenever using Take Anything, increases magic damage taken boost effect by 3%. This effect can be stacked up to a maximum 10 times and is irremovable. So this is quite nice on the other hand, because this lets her magic damage buff go higher than it was originally, so it was 25%, and then this gives another extra 30%, so that's quite nice. If you are running a magic team, then you should be having this perk, in my opinion. Right now this was for a physical team, so I don't have it, but yeah, this is something you also want to have for buffing magic teams. Finally, her dark skill. Each auto attack has a 30% chance of healing the ally with the lowest HP by 3% of their HP, also provides 5% mana to the ally. So her auto attacks will heal other people, the ally with the lowest HP, and she can grant mana to them. So that's quite nice. Again, auto mode where healing might be an issue, so it can be useful, not necessarily needed if surviving is not an issue or mana is not an issue, but it can be useful. So the main perk is really the S1 light or S1 dark, depending on the content, and the rest you can decide if you need some more speed. Also, she does supply a lot, a bit of crit, which she will also give, or more healing from this perk. So yeah, there are options that you can choose from. She is pretty versatile, and that's really good about her, that you can just really fit her to your needs. Now let's check her unique gears next. So her unique weapon reduces her own cooldown and the attack boost and depth penetration boost from her skills, or from her S1. So let's see how this scales. Starts with 1.4 seconds and 20 points of each attack speed and depth penetration, and then goes up to 3.6 seconds the reduction in cooldown and 50 extra points of depth penetration and attack speed. That's pretty nice, because if you go back to her skill 1, then we can see that this goes now down to less than 5 seconds on cooldown. So this way you can really stack it up faster, and you get an extra amount of depth penetration and attack speed. So that's pretty nice. Her buffs will be applied so much faster, and it will be so much stronger. Plus her healing uptime and the uptime of her S3 gets better too. So definitely she scales well with her unique weapon, and it can be worth investing in it. But yeah, it's costly because NPCs, you know. Also, one more note about the depth penetration and the attack speed buff. These are always applied randomly, so you may not always get this one. You will get one of them. But as you keep casting, sooner or later you will get a full depth penetration and full attack speed buff. So you can see this stacks up to 8 times. The attack one is always applied, so that's easy. But the other one will have to take a while until RNG blesses you with it. But thankfully you will be casting this a lot anyway. Now let's check her unique treasures. So the unique treasure 1, this is what she used to have all the time in before her balance patch. Only the best of the best and take anything. So this was fixed because only the best of the best, so the second part of the skill wasn't affected. Reduces mana cost and increases the target's magic defense by 2% for 8 seconds. This can be stacked up to 8 times. So let's see how this scales. Curious, it actually doesn't scale at all. I wonder if this used to be not the case. I think there might be some typo here, because this, I believe this wasn't like set to 2% before, but now it definitely does say that, so that's curious. But yeah, so it gives magic defense if you need it, then it's kind of nice. Plus it reduces the mana cost, so you are less mana restricted by casting it. So yeah, it can be useful to have. Her S2 on the other hand is having a new effect now. Increases heal rate by 50% for 10 seconds and increases crit chance of all allies by a certain number. And this can go up all the way to 250 crit chance, which is quite a nice number. That's more than like a destruction perk on wizards. And this means that if you still have crit on your gear, then you can drop some of it, provided you are able to reforge your gear again or remove your runes or whatever is providing you with crit. Or in some of the new raids like the Technomagic Enchantment raid, the Arcdim raids, where you have crit suppression, then this can counter some of it. Plus you get more heals out of her S2, so that's quite nice in general. So I would say this is now her main unique treasure, provided you can make use of the extra crit chance. Otherwise you could go with the extra magic damage reduction, the extra magic defense. But as far as I remember, that one is dispellable even if you have the perk. So the perk will protect the main buff, but not the UT buff. unless they change that from older times. Let's see her UT3. Increases the damage and attacks the enemy one more time. So more damage all the way up to 50%. That's pretty standard, and you get one more attack out of this. I'm not sure where you would want to use this over the other two. Maybe if you want more CC somewhere, but I don't think it's really worth, especially not over this one. And then the final one changes the target to all enemies. Upon activation, all allies recover 240 mana. Now this could be interesting, where you want to apply the magic damage buff to all enemies instead of just one. Like if you want to buff like the Vel'Khazar caskets, and if you already have enough crit chance, then this could be interesting because it applies an area-wide magic damage buff. So this could also be good in certain situations. Yeah, kind of depends what you need, more crit or the damage buff. So that's for her unique gears. So you can see, very versatile, very much capable to be set to your specific fight or needs. So that's really, really good about her. And her soul weapon is actually super powerful as well. Let's see, so summons the soul of the box of fragrance, Talia, healing of the total of a certain number of allies over 10 seconds. So again, a heal over time effect. And increasing the attack of the ally with the highest attack, excluding self, by 4% for 120 seconds every 3 seconds. So every 3 seconds you will get a 4% buff, and this will stack up to 20 times. So that's an 80% buff, but you need like 1 minute until this stacks to full. So yeah, you definitely have to wait for it, but after that you have this. Upon activation, there is a 30% chance to stack 2 times at once, so you can get a little bit more out of it. Charges up over 15 seconds, and the cooldown is 20 seconds only, so she can actually cycle through her buff pretty fast. But it lasts for 2 minutes, so if you cast it, if you use the last charge at 2 minutes before the fight ends, then you are still having the full stack until the very end. So let's see what more we get from it. Events and phase 1 will increase the heal rate and changes the stack to 2 times at once to 50%. So this part of the skill where you have a 30% to stack 2 times, it becomes 50%. So you can stack the attack damage boost or the attack boost to 2 times instead of 1. And that's pretty nice as well. And then advancement phase 2 is where the real fun begins. Increases damage dealt to bosses of the ally with the highest attack by 1% per attack boost effect stack, which means you get 20 times 1%, so 20% boss damage on top of all the non-heroes, the 30% non-hero damage, the pen, the speed, the mana, and the attack. So you can see why Mei is considered one of the best buffers right now. She just gives so many stats. It's just ungodly, really. It's so silly. To give you a concrete example, my current Mei, which is not super geared yet, let's just switch to the gear that I'm running on her. Let's see, so we have this one. So this is like, it doesn't even have rooms and has bad stats and all, but it has like mostly the correct stat lines. So this made my current Proteanus run go from 40 something trill to 60 something trill, something insane like that, and I wasn't even tryharding, it was a single run. And then this is not even optimized, like she's very far from having high attack or anything. I still need to do a lot of reforging and enchanting and stuff to get there, but yeah, she is an extremely powerful buffer, and we have seen very big jumps in numbers for teams who have started using her, so definitely worth. Now for gear parts, for PvE, of course, Escalon set is really good for her because it gives an extra 10% of attack to all allies, and she can be built attack heavy, so I would need to reroll all of this into attack lines. If I can get her to over 1 million attack, that would be quite nice. That will be a lot of rerolling and enchanting, getting it onto her unique treasures. Other than that, you can get her some MP sec, so she can charge her stuff faster. That's also nice, especially because her S3 is quite costly. but she doesn't really need anything else. Attack, really. One thing to keep in mind that usually in PV nowadays Fallen Frey is dropped as well, and nowadays Shower as well, so you might get hit by pretty strong attacks. So if you are low on health and defensive stats, then she might get one hit, because yeah, she doesn't really have anything that makes her tanky. So yeah, be careful if you are building her full attack that she becomes a glass cannon at that point, and she might get yeeted out of the battle. So yeah, there is that. But yeah, that's all really about Mei. We have gone through skills, perks, unique gears, soul weapon, and her normal gears. There is right now no PvE fight where I wouldn't take her, unless it's something super fast like a challenge raid speed kill type of boss. There maybe she is not so good. Other than that, she is just super powerful. I heard that she even yeets Fallen Frey out of Eclipse runs, which is crazy, like super crazy. So yeah, that's it really, guys. Mei is super powerful now. Get her, love her, maybe she loves you back. This has been Cloudie for now. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.